Hi everybody, I'm Yamino Senshi,
And I'm Phoenix.
and welcome back to more Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story. When we left Bowser, he was dead.
Yep.
Extremely dead. Which means we have to play the boat minigame again.
It's boatloads of fun.
Um, no, it's not, actually.
No,
No.
that was just a blatant lie.
Yeah, stop lying to the audience. Same as last time. You might be a little faster, but the patterns are the same. You gotta sit through this, and at least you know what's coming.
Yep.
I feel it's a very Nintendo thing, at least recently. To have this game is awesome, except for this one spot which is a little bit shit.
Yeah, they like to try and add a little bit of variety, but usually the variety ends up being so different and not really well executed.
I mean, every major Nintendo game I can think of has a bit that's kinda dumb. Going all the way back to the Water Temple in Zelda.
I guess the plus side of that is every so often they nail it and then you get something really cool and unexpected.
Like playing half an RPG as Bowser.
Yep.
I'd rather them keep experimenting and have hits and misses rather than do the same thing over and over again.
Yep, gotta take a few risks, otherwise you'll just stagnate.
That's over with. I actually failed the first time, but I am a kind, benevolent overlord and didn't make you sit through that.
I love how ominous the giant Bowser music is.
I'm really glad they used both screens for this little bit. I think I mentioned last time that the first time he rises from the lake, they don't. They just use the top screen. Looking at it like this, it's kind of weird. They're shaking out of sync. Time for another giant fight.
Against a castle. Again.
It's the Tower of Yikk. Just like before, I am playing this vertically. I cannot reorient the emulator in mid-record.
Shouldn't really lose too much functionality there, just a little disorienting.
Actually, after recording it becomes disorienting to edit it, because I'm so used to going bottom to top.
You just pretend that, like, Bowser's climbing up the side of a building or something.
It's Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Galaxy.
Yep. Or he's acquired Spider-Man powers.
And the tower just has spike shoes on.
Yep. Or some sort of, like, gravity-altering generator.
It is full of science, but not that kind of science. But getting back to the actual fight itself, you can't directly harm the body of it, so you have to punch it all the way back into the lake. Obviously there is lake behind you as well. Not sure exactly how that works out, but if you do not dodge or counter some of his attacks, he will push you back.
I would imagine if you get pushed all the way into the lake, you probably just, like, can't defend for a turn or something.
I'm too good for that. Also, it's pretty easy to not have that happen.
Yeah.
So you gotta punch him back, and obviously the better your punches, the farther back he slides. Just like every good Nintendo game, you have to play volleyball at some point.
It's the good old boss standby.
Yep. We can't think of anything interesting or new. Hit something back and forth.
That's how they become major bosses. They have to beat all the other bosses in the volleyball tournament.
Okay. Take a moment to actually cover his attacks. Pretty easy. Launches a bunch of... I don't know if those are shy guys or... They kind of look like dust skulls. They carry bombs and mushrooms towards you, and you have to shoot fire. As you shoot fire, your flames get smaller and smaller, so you have to be a little more accurate towards the end of the attack. And if you feel like you'll need it, you can let the mushrooms get deposited on you, and then you use them later. But typically, waiting for them to get out of range so you can hit the enemies behind them, you'll get hit by them. Once you get hit, you get stunned for half a second. That's normally enough to get hit again. I found it's better to just burn everything. Once you've got him in the water, you can punch him to your heart's content. Every time he tries to lift off, you have to punch him more and more to get him to drop back down. After 1 or 2 times, it becomes pretty much impossible.
You broke his nose off.
I do like how the giant enemies get more and more damaged. Real quick, his other attack was that giant fawful bomb, which you have to volley back and forth. And we're done. That was fairly easy.
Well, tower's gone.
Yep, totally disappeared. That was enough for 2 levels. This is probably the trickiest part, because I have to try and time the roulette sideways. Even then, I'm really starting to manage to get the higher numbers now.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Which I'll need. People have been asking about some of the bonus content. And I will get to it, I swear. Just not any time this week. The crisis averted, Bowser has returned to normal size.
It's a very goal-oriented power-up.
Don't die. That tower that we destroyed in the water is now over here. And the Yikk branding continues on the elevator.
For some reason, to me, it feels like such a bizarre-looking character. It doesn't look very Mario-ish for some reason.
It looked like Dr. Robotnik's ghost-obsessed brother.
Yeah. It's Dr. Robot Yikk.
And despite being the book being completely blank, Bowser will continue to pore over it.
It's about all he can manage.
Blank books, perfect.
He reads at a negative first grade level.
So he should be comfortable with what? Twilight? Actually, the book was full of ghosts. Yes, but his ghostly visage seems to be more metallic than spirit.
Well, it's a robot ghost.
Or is it a ghost robot?
Both?
As he was dying, he built a robot of himself to carry on his will. And then the robot fell in the lake, and its spirit became trapped in the book.
Yeah, let's go with that. I like how he also seems to have overalls on. Maybe he was like some ancient hero, and like every hero in the Mushroom Kingdom has to wear overalls.
Those were just his pajamas.
It's like the Zelda series, how every Link has to be given the hero's clothes, or they're all wearing the green clothes. Well, every hero in the Mushroom Kingdom has to wear a pair of overalls.
Unless you're playing Wind Waker on New Game Plus, when you can actually just beat the game in your pajamas.
Yep.
Which are vastly superior.
They need a Mario game where you can play it a second time and be in your pajamas.
Or the original Mario and Luigi, just play through it in the towel.
Yes.
That game starts with a panicked Toad seeing Mario naked.
Well, he invented X-ray, apparently.
Boo-ray. We're currently being bombarded with dangerous radiation. And will continue to do so during the course of this rather long dungeon.
If it's dangerous radiation, it would probably not be a great idea for Mario and Luigi to just walk right into it.
Well, they don't have a choice. Bowser is amused by the fact it's projecting a picture of his insides on the screen behind him that he can't really see.
They escape Bowser and rescue the princess, and at the end of the game they're all just like hideously deformed from the radiation.
Welcome to the Energy Hold. This is the next major dungeon for the brothers, and it is very long. It'll actually be cut into 2 videos. The main gimmick here is the light Bowser standing in front of makes those platforms appear, but makes Boo blocks disappear. There's really nothing to see on the top screen. You press X, Bowser punches the thing on and off. Our first new enemy, the Napses. Yeah, I got my ass kicked fighting Bowser, in case you forgot, and I didn't heal.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
You'll actually be seeing a bit of the menu this time around. They have 2 attacks. The first of which you saw is they have color-coded energy balls and they twirl around, and they both turn blue. And you have to remember which was which to dodge in time. We're getting to the point where you can't really be cheaty about your dodges anymore, and you have to actually pay attention.
And where things actually hurt enough that if you don't dodge, you'll probably die in just a couple hits.
Yeah, not just the bosses now, even the regular enemies. Getting pretty brutal. One thing I do like, if you look at the screen behind Bowser and back in the tower, it's actually just his insides. There are lots of enemy encounters in here, in addition to the length. Most of them are really unavoidable because all of the enemies here float. You'll be seeing lots and lots of speed-ups.
It's a lot easier to avoid enemies in Bowser's section since you've got the top-down view. It's a bit harder to get around them when you're in a 2D space trying to platform all over the place.
And the brothers don't have crazy punch sliding. The other problem is you have to dodge with both brothers. It's way too easy to have Luigi get left behind, sad and alone. This is the hub of this dungeon. This is the central area. There are 5 smaller areas with different, somewhat gimmicky challenges. First, we'll take this Globin's advice and make something happen. You liar.
Well, you're not a holder of the triangle pieces yet.
What we have to do is visit the 5 smaller areas to activate the bits of the star on the bottom, and then shine dangerous radiation through it, which then solidifies into a radioactive star that we use as a key. The gimmick for this area is these pink boo blocks. They move around when the light isn't shining. You cannot stand on them, though. They are insubstantial. Turn the light on, and they stop wherever they are.
Why does Bowser have blocks that look like boos inside of him?
He ate a ghost house.
Okay.
These are peps. They come in 3 different interchangeable varieties. The blue ones are speed peps. They can turn the green ones, which are defense peps. The blue ones attack by popping into existence in front of you, then dashing at you. You have to jump with either brother, sometimes both of them, or sometimes neither if they appear in the air. That red one was the Pow Pep. They will try and punch you. Taking after their host, I assume.
Not very creative.
Not very effective either. It's probably the easiest one to dodge. The defense peps can't attack on their own, but they can increase the defense of any other enemies on the same screen. The Pow Peps will hold their hands in front of them, move in front of you, and try and attack. You have to time your hammer swing for when their fists are down. But it uses the same timing every time, so it's very easy to just learn and react.
Get more chances to show off your stat slot machine prowess.
Yeah. I'm starting to feel like there's only a certain number of patterns, because I feel like every single one I get in this episode has the same pattern.
It could be. It could be that as you don't pick it, it just fills in numbers in a specific way.
I feel like every time, somewhere in there, there's a 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. And then after that, some high numbers. On to your tricks. Got me last time. And this is, I swear I'm not making this up, a piranha plorp. That's actually probably one of the more deadly enemies in this dungeon. They have more health than any of the other enemies. And they have 2 somewhat difficult to dodge attacks. First one is they pump this purple goo out, and you have to dodge it as it goes back and forth. And obviously it can cause poison.
He appears to just be coming out of a hole in Bowser's body.
And he's got a portable hole.
Oh, okay.
Remember when I tried to change my badges and failed miserably? Here's his other attack. Puts a haze over the battlefield and then spits these blobs up, and you have to look at the very bottom of the top screen to see what color they are.
That badge use did kind of confirm or deconfirm something we were talking about before, which is it looks like even though it seemingly gives the buff to each brother, it looks like doing any attack with one of them just removes it from both. Because you didn't get a Mario super attack on that one.
I didn't look at the damage, but he definitely didn't do the animation.
So the best use of that badge is probably to pop it right before a big single hit bro attack.
Right. And not the barrels.
Right.
Ignoring the turtle block for a second, there's goodies over here. The first half of the dungeon doesn't have that many goodies, actually. We won't find any attack pieces for a little bit.
The Mario RPGs in general tend to just have like lots of coin blocks around and kind of typical Mario stuff, as opposed to just like loads of treasure chests with gear and whatnot.
One of the puzzly aspects of having the turtle shell in 2D is that you cannot jump with it on. So you have to make sure you stick your landing there and wait for the block to come up. That is the end of section 1 of 5. Plus the intro bit. Plus the bit after we have the key. Did I mention there's a long dungeon?
You're kind of in the second big section of the game. Now you have to like find all the cures, so the dungeons are naturally getting longer and more complex.
Okay, I sort of lied. I could have gotten this previously. Then I wanted to walk all the way back to the right, and who wants to do that? One thing we'll find out from a Globin later, but the attack pieces do not show up on your map in this dungeon. So if you want to find them all, you gotta hunt around. The gimmick for Area 2 is these glass screens. You've got the light shining, you can see the platforms, but not the brothers, or enemies. You turn it off, you can see their shadow and the shadows that enemy casts, but you cannot see where the platforms are. The only real danger, aside from getting ambushed by enemies, is there are spots where you can fall into the fat below and have to restart. It's clear to me that Bowser has giant pools of fat in every area of his body.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you do kind of have a little bit of fat everywhere. Kind of cushioning stuff. Maybe. He did eat all of that high-fat stuff earlier.
But then he literally burned it off.
Well, maybe there's some residue.
That does remind me there is a small area in the Flab Zone that I missed. I'll have to go back to later, but you can't go back to it until you can access the castle again and eat yourself sick. Here's the only decent goodie for this part of the dungeon. I swear I'll actually look at the equipment I've been picking up at some point. And totally left Luigi behind.
Yep.
Oh, right, the Napses can do that too. They can duplicate themselves, but I believe it takes a part of their HP to do it. They have one more attack that I don't really show off. If there's two of them, one will throw color-coded energy balls into the other one, and then that one will throw them in that order. Thankfully, it just lets me walk off with Mario and Luigi figure something out.
I guess as long as you're within range of him, you can still leave screens.
You must gather your party before you continue. Remember these? This one's not as bad. It's not 20, but it is very fast.
It would be really bad if it was that fast and 20.
Yeah, it'd be awful if there was some, like, minigame thing where you had to do that 99 times.
Yeah.
Here's a extra enemy. This is the Pwallop, and it's our first reskin. It's pretty much the same. I did actually encounter one in my test recording, so I was caught totally off guard here.
And now he's got a POW up and a defense up.
Yeah, now he is a beast. Yeah, he just straight up murdered Mario.
He's a cold-blooded killer.
That's probably good, actually, if he's cold-blooded, because inside another living being is a really good place to regulate your body temperature.
Yeah.
But I'm not taking any more chances.
Even this doesn't do a ton of damage to him.
No, it does not. It does kill him off, but... My other issue is nothing in this dungeon really gives you that much experience. I did farm for money a little bit before, but I don't feel like I'm over-leveled. Still getting my butt kicked sometimes.
The Mario RPGs tend to have a pretty good balance of the level determining how well you do, as well as your skill determining how well you do.
Except for Partners in Time, which went from ridiculously easy to stupidly hard very fast. With those two sections done, we get a key that will lead us to the next section. We couldn't actually access any of the other three until now, and now we can only access one more. Join us next time when we finish this dungeon off.